Welcome, nerds, to a rushed episode. We're going to try and keep this as brief as possible. I am on a very tight schedule. This week we were talking about, in music news, we have new music coming from Slipknot. We have Kingdom Hearts going to the Steam in gaming and tech. We have, in comic books, a new Violator comic for the first time over from Todd McFarlane. We have Silk on Amazon Prime going to die. We have tickets on sale for Deadpool and Wolverine. We've got rumor dealing with Hawkeye on Disney Plus, and quite a bit more, so we've got a lot to cover. Let's get to it. In the music section this week, nerds, we have a follow-up on that Adam and Howard project from Killswitch Engage. We have Lorna Shore announcing a super duper epic tour. We also have new music from Slipknot, kind of. We're going to get to all that and a bit more, so let's rush through this, shall we? All right, so follow-ups and corrections. We have Adam and Howard of Killswitch Engage. Howard formerly of Killswitch Engage. Adam currently and always from Killswitch Engage. The side project that they announced a little while ago. The last we heard of it, though, was last August from Howard when they had finished the demos and they're going in to record. Seems they are now done recording and they're jumping into the post-production for this record. Still no release date for it just yet, but, you know, as that gets closer, we will be talking about it. That's what we have for follow-ups and corrections. Let's talk about new music and videos. I'll try and make this really quick. All right, so kicking things off, we have Nonpoint. Nonpoint has released a new track called Underdog. If you are a fan of Nonpoint, this is going to be more of exactly what you are expecting out of one of your favorite bands. Just saw them, honestly, on the Coal Chamber Mudvayne Psychotherapy Sessions tour. They were put on a hell of a show. Like, I saw them once or twice back in the day, too, and still put on a hell of a show then. The video is a lot of footage taken from that tour, it looks like, and also just kind of solid Nonpoint. If you're not a fan of Nonpoint, this isn't going to change your mind, but it's well produced, well done. Go check it out. Our next one is Nightwish. I've honestly kind of been wanting to do something from Nightwish for a little while, just because it's an interesting band to talk about, because they do write this epic prog, like cinematic kind of metal, and this is a different one than I kind of expected. So the name of this track is Perfume of the Timeless. It's over 8 minutes long. The concept for the video is really cool. It's about your ancestors and how many people it took to bring you to this moment, and just really, really super interesting conceptually. And then the music is exactly what I was expecting. Again, I've heard Nightwish once or twice before, but never actually listened with any sort of analytical ear. And this song did not disappoint. You have just a whole lot of movements going on. The final movement of the song gets surprisingly heavy, which I didn't really expect out of these guys. But yeah, definitely go check out Perfume of the Timeless. And then we have our final piece comes from Serj Tankian, who is in System of a Down, though there's a lot of stuff going on around that these days. He's released a new autobiography book about himself, and that reveals all of the issues behind the scenes with System of a Down and whose fault it was and blah, 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 blah. And that's not what we're talking about, because it's kind of already stuff we've all covered. What we're talking about is this new song, AF Day. Supposedly was written as, originally was going to be a System of a Down song. Didn't turn out that way, so he released it as a solo, and I feel like it would have benefited from being a System of a Down song. It's not to say it's bad, it's just, it feels like there's something missing. Maybe it's John on drums, maybe it's Shavo's weird bass. Any one of those elements from System of a Down could be what it is, or it's all of them, I don't know. But Serj releasing it on his own, okay, sure, go check it out. It's interesting, if nothing else. But that's what we got for new music. So let's kick it over now into tours. We have 2 tours that have been announced since we last spoke of touring music things. The first of which is Goat Whore. Goat Whore is going on tour with Vitriol, Fantafaxith, and I don't know who the hell that is, Heraklion, I don't know who the hell that is either, and Necrofire. Tour starts August 9th, runs through September 30th. You can find link down in the description if you are looking for tickets to see some classic extreme metal from the Goat Whores and the people they have decided to take on tour with them. From there is the big one that I am super excited about, and that is Lorna Shore has announced a new tour, headlining tour with some rather sizable venues considering how young these guys are. Support for the tour is Whitechapel, Kubla Khan, and Sanguisugabogg, in reverse order, obviously. Sanguisugabogg is going to be opening the show. Whitechapel is going to be on right before Lorna Shore. So tour starts September 19th, runs through October 30th, approximately 2 months of tour throughout the States, and that is pretty freaking exciting. Once again, links for tickets down in the description. Let's jump into regular ass news now. Kicking things off in the regular ass news, we're coming out swinging. We got the Slipknot news. We have a new song coming from Slipknot. It's not out yet. We don't know when it's coming. We just know the name of the new song is called Long May You Die. A similar naming theme in a way to the most recent record. So interesting. This is going to be the first one with Eloy Casagrande. So super interested to hear how he does in the studio with these guys. We've heard how he does with Sepultura. Now it's going to be interesting to compare that to, the Slipknot stuff, but we've already kind of seen that on his YouTube channel, and I'm spending way too much time on this. Let's move right along. Our next piece is a bit of a sad one, so I'm gonna have to slow down real quick. Stained, original drummer John Wysocki. I still can't say that name. I've read that name since I was a teenager, and I still can't just say it. John Wysocki, original drummer for Stained and also drummer for Soil, has passed since we last spoke. John had liver issues, so he was under active medical surveillance. He passed with friends and family near him, so it was as peaceful as possible considering the situation, and he was 56 years old. That's crazy young. So I'm going to take a moment, calm everything down, and just remember John. Okay, so from there, let's hit our last piece of music news, and that has to do with Guns N' Roses. Slash is out doing press tours promoting his solo record that he's just put out or is about to put out, something along those lines. Slash, those that don't know, guitar player for Guns N' Roses, also Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, that's the word. Miles Kennedy and Conspirators, he's a guitar player there, blah, blah, blah. Slash's Snake Pit, he does a lot of things. This is none of those, though. On the tour for his solo release, press tour, he was doing interviews and talking about, other things that are going on in his life. And he just kind of casually drops the fact that Guns N' Roses is freaking working on new music. We did get a 4-song EP from them in 2022. He said that as a continuation of those writing sessions from COVID, from lockdown, from all yada yada, there's a lot more new music in the works. Now, will we see it before Axl Rose dies? Maybe. Believe it when I see it. Until that point, though, that's what we got for regular ass news. Let's get into our suggestions this week. We've done it fairly recently, so I kind of didn't want to do it again, but then John passed, and so Stained Dysfunction is your suggestion for music this week. This music was very influential in my formative years when it came to what kind of music I was going to be into and create myself. This record is honestly kind of a magnum opus for these guys. They were never able to repeat the songwriting style of this record. Break the Cycle was pretty good. Shades of Grey was less good, and then just kind of became radio rock from there. But this record is amazing. Standout tracks, you've got Just Go, you've got Home, there's every song on this record is a banger, but just go check out Stained Dysfunction. That is your musical suggestion for the week. All right, gaming and tech. Once again, we are rushing through this bad boy. We have Kingdom Hearts coming to the Steam Deck. We are going to talk ever so briefly about the situation with Assassin's Creed, and then we also have some Microsoft stuff that just released. So yeah, we're going to talk about the things in gaming and tech. Follow-ups and corrections. We've talked about Kingdom Hearts a number of times. This is no different. We do have a release date now. The Steam release date for Kingdom Hearts is June 13th. You can purchase each game individually or you can purchase them all as one giant pack. If you do purchase them all as one giant pack, it gives you access to the Dark Seeker Saga, which will be available once Kingdom Hearts 4 finally releases, and then you can play all of the games and the little in-between games and everything all the way through on your Steam Deck. That's pretty freaking epic. The release date, like I said, June 13th. Follow-up, let's move on. We also, in follow-ups, have a Netflix, the follow-up for the Netflix bundle from Xfinity. We now know quite a bit about it, so it is going to be $15 a month. You will get Netflix, Apple TV Plus, and Peacock as part of this bundle. Again, $15. It will start next week. If you are an Xfinity customer, then you will have access to this $15, which if you were to subscribe to these individually on your own, it would cost you $100 more a year, which is significant to a certain degree. And the only option for Netflix is the ad-supported tier. So that is, if you want to do it for $15 for all three services, then you have to get the ad-supported Netflix, which, I mean, I have it. It's not that terrible. But yeah, that is the update there. From there, we have trailers to talk about. The first trailer is we have a Multiverses trailer that just launched. The game comes out May 28th, so we're only a few days away from the proper release of the game that we've all kind of already played, and some people are in the new beta, and it's a little confusing. Go check out the trailer, though. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I feel like they gave a lot more consideration to what the fans were looking for out of this in this trailer, so absolutely worth your time. And also, Jason Voorhees is being added to the game alongside freaking Agent Smith. Yeah, go check out the trailer. It's a hell of a thing. And then the other trailer we have this week is Elden Ring, the Erd Tree expansion. It's the final story trailer before the game launches. Just more epicness from FromSoft. Go check it out, because if you haven't been hooked by this game yet, I think this one might do it. I don't know. Go check it out, though. Link in the description. Let's talk about regular ass news now. Like I said, we're rushing through this bad boy, so I kind of wish this hadn't happened this week. But Assassin's Creed Shadows is launched is announced, and we have trailers, and IGN has written a million freaking articles about it, and everyone is split on this because, oh my gosh, it's a black samurai. Maybe. And also, the only other option for a playable character is a female samurai. I don't know that she's being billed as a samurai either. Yes, I see that Yasuke, I think is how you say his name. Yeah, Yasuke. I see that Yasuke is wearing samurai armor, but the girl is, and I didn't write her name down, Nairo something. She's not wearing samurai armor from anything I've seen, but I also haven't dug super deep into this. Aside from knowing that Yasuke is an actual person from history, which may or may not be the first time Assassin's Creed has actually done that. So there's kind of that in its favor. Yes, he was not actually a samurai when he was alive in the world, but he was in Japan, and he was a samurai's aide, effectively. He was a sword holder. So I think it's kind of take six one way, half a dozen the next. Like, yeah, it's a little bit of DEI in that they're checking all their social justice boxes, and they're doing everything that they think they need to in order to make people happy, blah, 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 stupid stuff. But also, like, this was a real person, so that is an interesting story to tell. Can we not see that? We can't get past the fact that we're so anti-woke that we don't see that this could potentially be an interesting story. Now, are they going to take a slew of liberties telling this story? And is it going to be absolutely 0% historically accurate? Maybe not 0%, but a very low percentage of historical accuracy, sure, but that's the rest of the franchise as well. Everything else that's come out for this has been very much not historically accurate. When you're telling a science fiction time travel through genetics story, like, what kind of historical accuracy are you looking for at this point? I don't get it. Not the hugest Assassin's Creed player, though, so it kind of is what it is for me. I just think it's potentially has the ability to be super interesting. Are they going to falter in that interest, the level of interest? Yeah, probably. Either way, like, I don't understand why it's such an overreaction. That's just silly. Again, ignore it, it goes away. Let's move on though, because we're spending way too much time in a very abbreviated episode on one title, or on one subject. So, our next piece of regular ass news has to do with Microsoft. They have now began launching their Copilot Plus laptops, the Copilot Plus PCs, I guess is how they're billing it. So these are going to be the AI built-in PCs that Microsoft has kind of been talking about for some time. Copilot Plus is the new name for them because they had a code name that was AI PC effectively, and this one is just more on brand for them. But it's ARM. The processor is an ARM processor, which is going to be geared specifically for AI purposes. So if you're using a lot of AI tools, then these are going to be right up your alley. And from the sounds of the way the guys over at Linus Tech Tips are talking about this, it sounds like it's actually going to be potentially very freaking useful. So it's very interesting as far as like the future of AI and how we're going to incorporate it in our lives. Link down in the description is going to take you to the more in-depth breakdown of this news piece by the guys over at Linus Tech Tips. So go check that out if you are interested. But just know that this is going to be crazy. We are just at the beginning of this AI stuff, and Microsoft is about to force it down all of our throats. And it might be a foie gras situation where maybe we're gonna like it. But let's move on. We have a suggestion this week for gaming and tech, and that is Kingdom Hearts. In order to, celebrate the finally releasing it on the Steam, just however you want to find it, go play some Kingdom Hearts. It is quality RPG gameplay, and it is quality for the whole family. So if you've got the little ones, this is a perfect game for you. Or if you just really dig Disney's franchises from when they were relevant and good, then this is also going to be right up your alley. So Kingdom Hearts is your gaming suggestion for the week. Let's get into some comic books and books. Again, rushing through today's episode, talking Violator. Todd McFarlane is doing a backstory for Violator, plus Spider Society. We have a spin-off Spider-Man book to talk about, and then a couple other things. So let's get into it. No follow-ups, no corrections, no trailers, just news. All right, so Violator, the big one coming out the gate. Todd McFarlane has announced he is going to be doing an origin story for the Spawn series villain. One of the most prevalent villains in the series has never gotten any sort of backstory, and now Todd McFarlane, Spawn, now Todd McFarlane is aiming to correct that. It's not going to be written by Todd McFarlane, it's going to be written by Mark Draco, who won an Eisner Award, plus art from a bunch of artists: Piotr Kowalski, Kyle Holtz, Jonathan Wyshak, Gianerico, I'm sorry about butchering this name, Gianerico Bonacorsi, and Cully Hammer, and Vaughn Randall, all artists on the project. That's pretty cool. I haven't read Spawn for years, but yeah, I mean, longest running creator owned property in comic books, there's something significant there. From that point though, we have Spider Society. A new Spider-Man book has been announced, and it's going to be a spin-off from the Edge of the Spider-Verse comics that just started. This one is going to be launching, I did not find the date actually. Nope, I did. August 14th. There it is. August 14th is when we're going to get book number 1. The writer is Alex Segura, and art is going to be coming from Scott Godlewski. So yeah, looks interesting. I haven't read Spider-Man, honestly, really much at all. Not one of my big comic books to read, but we will keep tabs on it and see if anything crazy comes out of it. And then our last piece of regular ass news has to do with Assassin's Creed in comic books. What? Yeah, we have Assassin's Creed Mirage is the name of the book. The book is going to be on shelves November 6th. It's going to be a $4 book, so it's on the cheaper-ish side, and right in the middle, I guess. It's not a $6 book, it's not a $5 book. $4 is, right about where comics should be these days, I feel like. But it's going to be a 3-issue mini, so it's going to be very, very short. And it's kind of playing into more of the world of Assassin's Creed, though if it's going to be recognized by the games, still remains to be seen. That, though, is what we have for our news. Let's talk about comic book suggestion this week in a celebration of the fact that we are getting an animated series for it. Scott Snyder's Witches is your reading suggestion for the week. It's a horror book. It is a publisher. It was released on Image Comics, if I remember correctly, and it has been collected in a trade at this point. So you can just go find the trade, or if you already have all the issues like I do, then read the issues once again, because it's just good horror comic stuff. That is your suggestion for comic books this week.
Oh, hey nerds. So, just here to remind you this week that subscribing is great. You should do that. It really doesn't cost you much, and it helps us make this show happen. It also keeps me fed, so that's a good thing too, right? You don't want a dragon to get hungry. So hit the subscribe button, tell all your friends. We've gotten a lot of comments recently talking about how, people think we do a good job here. So let your friends know if that's the case, and it really helps us out even more that way. So, yeah, there you go. Either way, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for feeding me. Let's get back to nerdy things. Okay, bye.
TV shows. This week in TV, we have Sandman on Netflix to talk about, Silk on Amazon Prime to talk about, plus Witches, the Scott Snyder Image comic, is in the TV section for some reason. So yeah, let's get into all of the things, starting with follow-ups and corrections. Our first follow-up has to do with Sandman. We have season 2 casting things. Adrian Lester, who you might remember from Euphoria, if you watched it. I didn't watch Euphoria, but he was also technically in Spider-Man 3, though his scene was deleted. He will be playing Destiny. Esme Greed Miles will be playing Delirium. I didn't find any nerd cred for her. Barry Sloane was in Darren Aronofsky's Noah back in 2014. So that was kind of really the biggest nerdy thing from him. Prodigal is who he will be playing. Obviously, they are joining Tom Sturridge as Dream, Kirby as Death, Mason Alexander Park as Desire, and Donna Preston as Despair. Yeah, season 2. Super stoked for it. Let's move on. Our next follow-up has to do with the Silk series that we were talking about over on Amazon Prime is not actually going to be coming out anymore. The Amazon Prime only bought the rights to greenlight if they liked the script. Apparently, they did not like the script, so they are not going forward with this Spider-Man spin-off series. Though, Sony is still trying to shop it around to other streaming services, so it's not completely dead just yet, just probably. All right, that's what we have for follow-ups and corrections. Let's talk about some regular news real quick. Only piece we got this week is Scott Snyder's Witches. Witches is getting an animated series on Amazon Prime. Not just that, though. I think we might have already talked about that piece. So the new piece about that, assuming we have talked about it, because I can't remember, and I didn't go through the notes like I should have. I know, I'm sorry, I was rushing. Either way, it is going to be, they're starting season 2 very soon, according to Scott Snyder. So starting season 2 means they're in the pre-planning stages, and they will be hitting the writer's room very soon, is specifically more what he said. So very likely we're seeing at least 2 seasons of Scott Snyder's Witches, which is it's horror. I mean, if you didn't kind of gather that from the title, or if you've never read the comic book, horror and animated horror, very interesting. Gonna see where that one goes. I mean, the Junji Ito stuff over on Netflix worked out super well, so here's to hoping that Scott Snyder can do the same thing over on Amazon Prime. That's though what we have for regularized news. Let's talk about suggestions this week. We have TV suggestion is Big Bang Theory. I've been watching way too much Big Bang Theory this week, and you should join me because I don't care what the overly sensitive type people are. It is not nerds as punchline. It is nerds as sitcom characters. It's kind of like the peak of us being trendy, kinda, sorta, in a way. Though how many friggin' physicists do you know in your nerdy circles, right? Most of us are just comic book readers and really obsess about certain things that we like a lot. So either way, I love the show. I really see nothing wrong with poking fun at yourself from time to time, even if it is, other people's idea of what would be poking fun at you. I dig it. I guess we can have a conversation about it if you disagree with me down in the comment section, but either way, that's your suggestion for TV this week. Movie news this week, we have tickets going on sale for Deadpool and Wolverine. We also have an update on Star Wars that could be interesting, as well as Jason Universe. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit more, so let's jump into it. Coming out the gate in follow-ups and corrections, Deadpool and Wolverine tickets on sale now. Link in the description to the trailer that will then have a link to get to your tickets. Or you can just go to Fandango, whatever. There's a number of different places that you can buy your tickets through, but yeah, follow the links. Nothing's affiliate, so if you don't follow my links, it's not going to hurt me any. It's also not going to help me if you do, so do what you will. But yeah, go get your tickets because they're going to sell out. Going to sell out. The movie, I did not put the release date of the movie. It's June sometime, so soon. Either way, go check it out. From there, Venom 3, we have confirmation that we've talked about briefly, but confirmation now directly from Sony that The Last Dance, which is the subtitle for Venom 3, is going to be the final Tom Hardy Venom movie. October 25th is the release date, and once again, officially Sony is saying, yes, this is our send-off for Tom Hardy Venom. Will they recast? Will they reboot? Who knows? Probably in a few years they'll start to get the itch again and start doing Spider-Man related things with more directly Spider-Man related characters, because Kraven the Hunter is also coming out, and then we have potentially more with Spider-Man Noir and whatever. This is the last one for Tom Hardy. Let's move on. All right, our next follow-up has to do with the James Mangold Star Wars production. We might know the proper title of this. So his production partner, Simon Emanuel, was doing an interview recently and referred to Mangold's Star Wars project as Jedi Prime. Now remember, for those, the TLDR, if you don't remember, James Mangold is doing a Star Wars movie that is a prequel to everything. It's thousands and thousands of years in the past, at the beginning of the formation of the Jedi as an order. So Jedi Prime is kind of a cool name, I'm not gonna lie. That's all we got though. Let's move to our next one. We have an official confirmation from Netflix that Happy Gilmore is in fact getting a sequel from Adam Sandler. So all of the I've seen the script stuff, it's come true. It's not really a confirmation because it was kind of all but known up until this point, but we now officially know for sure, 100% sure, Netflix is going to do the thing. So from there, let's talk about trailers. We got a really, really interesting trailer from Halle Berry. It says starring Halle Berry. I believe it was a Lionsgate release, and the name of the movie is Never Let Go. This is a horror movie. It has very similar vibes to Silent Place, or A Quiet Place rather, and I forget the one, the Bird Box, kind of very similar post-apocalyptic kind of vibes to those movies, but is a different play on a familiar-ish theme. Somehow the monsters can't get you if you're always connected to your house, and then the trailer kind of gives a little bit of it away, I think, and that makes me a little sad, but I hope I'm wrong. But go check out the trailer and form your own opinion. And then our next one comes from Netflix. Is Ultraman Rising, some family-friendly, nerdy fun. That's the way I was trying to say that. Ultraman Rising animated movie, June 14th on Netflix. Ultraman gets a kaiju baby and hijinks ensue. I'm kind of stoked for it, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of dig Ultraman, and this one just looks like a lot of fun. Very, very family friendly. So yeah, there's that. And then our last one, also a horror movie, Longlegs. Nicolas Cage just can't help but make 7 movies a year, and this one looks like one of the more interesting ones this year. So Longlegs horror movie, you don't really see Nicolas Cage in the trailer. I mean, you kind of do, but you never really see his face. You definitely hear his voice though. And this looks like it's going to be very unique in a good way. So there's that. Go check out the trailer. Then we have some regular ass news. Our one piece of regular ass news this week is Jason Universe. This was announced last week while I was going through all of my technical issues trying to get last week's episode posted. Jason Universe is the announcement from Horror Incorporated, because apparently that's the new company name for who owns the rights to Jason Voorhees. Jason Universe is going to be a connected universe of movies and TV shows and games, and they announced that throughout the rest of the year of 2024, we will be getting many more announcements inside of this. We kind of already got the first one of them, being Jason Voorhees in Multiverses in the gaming section, so kind of already beat you to it there, guys. But yeah, interesting situation. I don't know how good that's going to be. I think too many people are trying to capitalize on the fact that the MCU was very successful. It is no longer very successful, not because it's an interconnected universe necessarily, but because they're kind of squandering it on their own. But still, like, people are starting to get tired of this concept, so I don't know. It could be good, it could be bad. It hopefully won't go the same direction as I can't even remember the name of the other horror friend, the Winnie the Pooh, the Poohniverse, I think is what they were calling it. That's not the official title of it, but I can't remember the official title of it. But the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey horror universe, that is more meme level, and I really hope that's not the direction they're taking it with the Jason stuff, but man, only time will tell. So that's what we got for news. Let's talk about our suggestion for the week. Suggestion this week, speaking of great Nicolas Cage horror movies, we're talking Color Out of Space, man. This movie was released in 2019 and it still seeps into my brain. I haven't seen it more than the second time I saw it. I saw it once when it first hit Amazon, and then I watched it again when a little while later. I don't remember exactly why, but just because it's a great horror movie. This is some Lovecraftian horror done to its peak. This is going to mess your head up. Definitely not family friendly. This is a horror movie that will twist and warp you in ways you did not realize you could be twisted and warped. It is available on Shudder, or if you want to pay a little bit of money, it's still on Amazon Prime, so go check it out. That is your suggestion for the week.
It's classified.
This week's rumor mill is going to be very, very brief. We only have one rumor to talk about, so let's talk about it. That one rumor is Hawkeye Season 2, apparently coming to Disney Plus sometime in the future. Didn't do super well, but this comes from really good sources. Multiple sources. So, I mean, I can't make heads or tails of this because it does check all of the social justice boxes, but it didn't do well. People don't like it, but it's Disney. So like there are legitimately enough and all at the same time not enough on both sides to say this could go either way. We're gonna say 50% likely, splitting the difference, 50% likely that we will be seeing a season 2 for the Hawkeye series. The rumor does go on to say that both Jeremy Renner and Hailee Steinfeld have signed on to get going on that. So I don't know, Jeremy Renner's kind of a busy guy now that he's healed. So again, but he could already just be under contract for this. So there's so much there that it could go either way. And that's what we got for the rumor mill, nerds. So that brings us to housekeeping this week. Housekeeping, obviously, because we're rushing like we are, still not going to be doing a That Just Happened episode. That is, I warned you last week, we probably weren't going to be doing it. I'm confirming this week we are not doing That Just Happened. This week we will be returning to our regularly scheduled programming as of next week, and still editing the shout out show over on the second channel. So if you have subscribed, I really, really thank you and appreciate the subscription, and please join in the conversation whenever possible. Comment section is a wonderful thing. I respond to most of the comments. I read them all, but I don't respond to them all necessarily. But yeah, definitely a thing to go check out. Thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. That is where we're going to call it for this week. We will see you next time. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.